Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Unexpected Entrepreneur Podcast. This week's episode is a solo episode from me. It's KP. And this week we're going to be talking all about blog post ideas and how to never run out of topics again. And if you've been listening to this season, you know that this season is brought to you by Back Pocket Blogger, which is our all new monthly blogging retainer service. Essentially, what this means is whenever you have an idea for a blog post that you want written, whether you're a photographer, or a creative or literally any type of online business owner, all you have to do is fill out a quick form. Let us know what topic you want written about, and we will fully do all of the keyword research for you. We will write the entire post, and it will be sent to your inbox within 72 hours for you to review. And then from there, after you review it, we will literally go ahead and fully upload it and publish it for you. So it is pretty hands-off in that manner. And then the investment for it is $3,000 for 6 months, and you'll get 12 blog posts over that period. So you'll be getting 2 each month, or you can also pay monthly, and it will be $500 a month if you choose the monthly route. But you can learn more about that in the description, show notes down below. And we've also been having a fun series with some past blogging clients also joining us over here on the podcast. So if you haven't listened to those episodes, definitely go and check them out if you want to learn more about what it's actually like to be a client in the service, because I know that's always different than actually hearing it from the person who is offering. But yeah, let's go ahead and just dive into today's episode. So first things first, I really wanted to talk about the importance of actually having fresh content for your blog. So regularly updating your blog is crucial. Google loves websites that continually are publishing new content. And of course, the easiest way to do that is to have a blog on your site, because that way you're not, going in and updating different pages on your site or publishing new pages on your site. Instead, you're just publishing new blog posts, which is a lot easier. Fresh content is really going to keep your audience interested because, again, you can really use the content that you're creating in a million other ways. You can repurpose as much as you want, and it's also going to help improve your SEO. So one of our favorite things we always like to talk about is that when it comes to being a photographer, one of the easiest ways to really start to attract clients from other areas than what your main website is targeting is to use blogging. So what that means is, let's say you're a Las Vegas wedding photographer. So your entire website probably is going to have keywords revolving around Las Vegas, Nevada, wedding photography, things like that. But maybe you really want to get into national park elopements, and maybe you even have some, under your belt that you've done before. Like maybe you've been to Rocky Mountain and you did an elopement there. You can write a blog post about that and then really start to target people who are looking for Rocky Mountain National Park elopements through your blog posts. So that's one of our favorite things about blogging. However, we really know that there is a huge challenge that comes up with consistently coming up with new topics. But again, that's what this episode is for. And before I even start to dive into all the different types of posts you can write, I did want to mention that, trust me when I say, there is an endless amount of topics out there. I know when I first got into blogging, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to run out of topics so quickly. I'm a travel blogger for the most part. So I was like, oh my gosh, there's only so much I can, write about Denver, Colorado, right? Wrong. I was so wrong. When you really start to think about it, there are really an endless amount of topics and possibilities and things that people are searching every single day. When it comes to thinking of topics, one of the first things you really want to do is make sure that you understand your audience. So what this means is you really want to know exactly who it is that you're writing for, why you're writing for them, and everything like that. And obviously, as a photographer or a creative, this means that you're going to be writing posts that are going to try to get your ideal client. So again, you just really want to know who your ideal client is. We do have a whole episode on this too, a few episodes back from our branding season, if you do need any help with that. But once you know exactly who it is that you're targeting, you really want to try to think about what it is that they would be searching for. So, for example, someone who is looking to elope in Las Vegas is probably going to be wondering, what type of venues they should be looking at when they're, trying to decide where they should elope. They are going to be looking for things like where to get their outfits, things like that. So you really just want to try to think about everything that there is to possibly think about when it comes to covering basically everything related to what your ideal audience would be looking for. And then you can also, this is one thing that we've actually tried out. You can also, if you are on Instagram and you're pretty active on Instagram or even Threads, if you can put out polls, even trying to figure out what it is that your audience most wants to learn from you and, what they would potentially be searching for, that can also be a great way to sort of crowdsource and gather some different topic idea starting points as well. So when it comes to topics, there are a few different types of topics that I wanted to talk about just to kind of get you brainstorming. The first one is that you can, of course, leverage your own photography work. So what I mean by this is showcase recent photo shoots, recent sessions, recent weddings, recent client stories that you've done. These are the types of posts that we see consistently do really, really well for our own clients when we blog for them. This is especially true if you're a wedding photographer. We say this all the time, but pretty much any wedding venue with the word wedding on the end is a really good keyword 9 times out of 10. So that's always a really great place to start. And then in articles like that, you really, again, just want to make sure that you're educating your audience, because the goal of a blog post is to educate, and always make sure that you have more content, like more words, than you do imagery. You can also share some behind the scenes insights from your own photography process, which again will allow you to show a lot of your work throughout. You can highlight some of your own favorite projects and why they stand out. So kind of do like a roundup post. If you ever go on our own blog over at inkpotcreative.com, you'll see that we actually do quite a few roundup posts. We'll do them for like different types of clients that we've worked with. So I think we have one all about different therapist websites we've created. We also have one on show it websites, and that'll literally just be like a huge roundup of different projects that we've done, but people literally are searching for things like that online. And then you can also, if you ever need a really good starting point, just create posts based on the frequently asked questions that you get from clients. So whether that's from sales calls or, in your DMs or over emails or even just in your inquiry form, that is such a great place to start when it comes to writing your posts. And if you have an FAQ section even on your website, you can just go through and pretty much turn those into blog posts, but really make sure that you're doing your keyword research to make sure that what people are asking and what you want to write about are actually things people are searching for. And then, of course, those will also kind of have a nice sort of like twofold effect in the sense that you'll be getting traffic from Google. And if someone ever asks that question again, you can just send them over to your blog post. Next, as a photographer, you can really lean into seasonal topics. So what this means is trying to use holidays and different seasons to inspire your content. This is one that we see most often when it comes to what to wear to different sessions. So like what to wear to an engagement session in fall, winter, spring, summer. You can literally write almost the same post for each season and then just like change the content depending on the season. So that's a really good place to start when it comes to kind of leaning into seasonal content. And then, of course, too, you'll just have to know that obviously a post on winter isn't going to be doing that well in summer. So just know that if you do have all of those seasons covered, you should be getting pretty stagnant, or not stagnant, but you know what I mean? Like your traffic will be staying about the same like each season, because as one post is starting to do well, the other one will probably start to taper off a little bit. So when it comes to educational content too, there are so many different types of posts that you can write. These are the types of posts that we always see do consistently really well for our photographers that we write for. And that's just because people are always looking for topics about anything related to education. So with this, you could do things like sharing education around different types of photography styles. You could write about candid photography, documentary style photography. You could even just do things on like black and white photography. Anything like that is usually going to rank pretty well. You can do how-to posts on preparing for sessions. So these could be like how to prepare for your brand photography session, how to prepare for your engagement session, anything like that. And then with that too, you can really get into the details of like, you could have a whole post on, different props to bring to a branding session. Like I'm sure people are searching for that. And anything like that as well for like even outfits, like what to actually wear for your brand photography session. And then of course too, things like tips for picking the best wedding venues are always going to be very heavily searched. And if you're not a wedding photographer, you can even just do different photo spots, different studios in your area, different outdoor spots, indoor spots, like everything is pretty much being searched. And then if you are a photographer who also is trying to attract other photographers, maybe you have like courses or mentorships or anything like that, you can also do content that's educational for other photographers. So you could do things on like equipment reviews and recommendations. You could talk about different business things like, where to go for a CRM or like email marketing or anything like that. Next, this is not always going to rank as well, but it could still be a really unique an interesting topic to include on your blog, and that's talking about personal and storytelling content. So with this, you could, write posts on your own personal journey and experiences as a photographer. You could write about recent travels you've taken. You can write about different challenges and lessons that you've learned. You can also like explore the different inspirations behind your work as well, and even just feature stories of people that you photographed. This is great if you really want to build a personal connection, but again, it's not going to be something that's going to rank as well as something like educational content. Client-focused content is also always going to do pretty well. I know I touched on this a little bit, but this could be things like creating different case studies and success stories. You can do different client spotlights that feature testimonials, and you can also always address different client concerns and questions. Engaging content is also some great content to include on your blog. This could be different posts like podcast features. So if you've ever been on somebody's podcast, including the different features in blog posts could also be great. Or if you have a podcast of your own, definitely turn each and every podcast episode into a blog post. This is something that we do all of the time. And sometimes our episodes that are actually podcasts first that we turn into blog posts end up being the posts that get us like the most traffic. And then if you are interested too, if you ever do like guest post swaps with anybody or even collaborations or anything where maybe you write a blog post for somebody else and then they write one for your blog, that can also be a really great way to do some engaging content on your website. And then, of course, too, you'll always want to be curating your content by repurposing it if you can. Because as a photographer, I am sure you are on Instagram all the time, which means you have like a huge goldmine of content that you can use as a starting point when it comes to different blog posts. So with this, you can use any social media posts that you've written as inspiration for a blog post. You can also repurpose like any TikTok videos or anything like that you've made into a blog post if you want. And then, of course, you can always use different content idea tools and resources that are out there to also try to come up with different topic ideas. So these could be things like going on Reddit, seeing what questions like people are actually asking about your industry, and then writing posts on that. Just, being an active listener on other social media platforms like Threads or Instagram, anything like that. And just trying, again, to see like the things that people are commonly asking just so that you can make sure that you're answering them. You can also actually use keyword research tools, which is one of our favorite methods of finding topics. This is how we never run out of topics. And our favorite keyword research tool is KeySearch. Ubersuggest is also a free option if you want one. We actually go over, if you do want to fully DIY your own blogging, we go over exactly how to find keywords in our Blogging for Business course, which you can also find out more about on our website. But essentially, you just want to make sure you're finding keywords that people are actually searching for, because we don't want you to spend time writing a post that, 5 people are going to see. It's a lot more beneficial if you actually take the time to write posts that, hundreds of people are looking for every single month. And that is pretty much it for today's episode. I know it was a quick one, but thanks for joining me on this solo episode. And again, this season is brought to you by Back Pocket Blogger, which is our monthly blogging service. If you're interested in learning more about this, you can visit the description and show notes down below. And we actually have it set up so that if you do want to instant book with us, you can literally do that. You can just fill out the proposal and instant book and be onboarded onto Back Pocket Blogger today, which means you could literally get your first blog post within a few days from now, which is pretty cool. In the next episode, we will be talking all about how to showcase your work and actually create portfolio posts that are compelling and interesting to read, that also rank well on Google. So I'll catch you in the next one.